Desperately imploring Torrent to ride as if my life depended on it, I soon reached my destination, fearful as well as anxious. Thank the gods, he was still alive. Exhausted from that scare the message had given me, I talked to the old prisoner, even though he wasn't particularly pleased with what I could tell him about his former cellmate.
That monster. He's lurking round here.
I had decided to protect this unlikely friend of mine, and began searching the nearby terrain for that deceitful scourge, whom I had been tricked into releasing. Who could have known what would happen? I looked under every rock, but as I arrived at a remote part of the outer moat, a shadow fell upon me, and a terrible realization emerged. By the gods! He was alone with no one to protect him from that demonic force. For some reason I knew, as I approached that friendly brute so fond of prawns, that I was too late.
Serves me right. Fitting bloody end. For a jumped-up little shit with big ideas.
What a wicked thing to do.
Help me out. Would you, mate? I don't want to get cursed. Just let me die. I don't want to live like this. Not anymore. So, please.
And just like that, he was gone from this world. I hesitantly picked up his gear, unsure of what to do about it. There he was, that despicable pervert. Blind with fury, I tore into him.
Kill you. Oh, your corpse. Then the
Slaying this disgusting creature did me no good, nor did it change the terrible fact that I had caused my friend's tragic demise, all due to a pathetic need to become a just ruler. How little I knew. And because of my unbecoming vanity, a terrifying fate had befallen that poor man. As if living a waking nightmare, I found the culprit's reddish shadow in the round table hold.
There you are. You warded off my blessing, despite the curse stirring within you. No one has succeeded in that before. How? I thought. Then it hit me that you are, in fact, me.
What nonsense was this?
And I am the Dog Eater. It is my flesh that must receive the blessing.
No more blessings for you, vermin.
Defile my flesh with the seedbed curse. Hundreds will be reborn cursed. And they'll bear thousands of cursed children, who bear tens of thousands more. A few of those will be born just like me.
I wasn't done with that abnormality. Not by far. I could not allow this fiend to live anymore. To hell with misguided forgiveness. Returning to his dank prison cell in the dark sewers below the capital, there wasn't even a question of what I had to do. Thus, the infamous eater of dung and his profane vision of heirs were ended. Looming over his corporeal remains, I noticed the sickening design of his apparel and suddenly felt burdened. This was indeed a cell, but not of this world. It was the cell of mankind itself, doomed to suffer for all eternity in muffled solitude, mute and deaf, unable to grasp that this was the empty space within, devoid of grace and hope. Then I felt it again, even stronger than before. That tempting presence deep below the capital was calling unto me with smouldering promises of absolution, and I began a slow descent into madness. You wouldn't have been able to recognize me if you had met me back then, struck by grief and guilt, slaying everything in my path, without even the slightest hint of hesitation. Eventually, I found my way to tunnels which hadn't been used in millennia, except to throw away unwanted individuals. I lost myself in that hellish maze, but the tremors caused by my misplaced sense of self hadn't abated at that point, and I felt nothing, moving slowly through these forgotten artifacts of a bygone culture. After days in this perpetual darkness, or perhaps it was even weeks, I found a lift, and as it moved down into strange and unknown depths, I was granted a magnificent sight of otherworldly architecture. Then, in a grand and clearly cultish chamber of worship, a monstrous lord appeared in a black cloud, only to annihilate me seconds after. It was here that I decided to honor my dead friend with his iron balls. To this day, I have no recollection of the fight itself. I only remember fleeting glimpses of me smashing that hideous beast while shouting Boggart's name over and over again. The dream-like encounter ended, and I found myself in front of a chest. Was this it? There was nothing here. It was too much, and finally breaking down from that terrible lack of closure, I began smashing Boggart's balls of iron into the chest and whatever else I could get my hands on. What was that? Wait a moment. Had somebody been trapped down here? If I had been myself, I would have mourned that fellow's sorry fate, but eerie music flowed toward me, and my body began to tremble. I could feel it again, and this time it was so close I could almost touch it. That enigmatic presence seemed to burn me from just beyond the barrier. Yet I couldn't pass. It was impenetrable and had been locked by something or someone, and it tormented me. Somewhere above me in the golden capital was the key that would allow me access to the mystery in the depths. I felt sure of it. I would, as the rightful ruler of this degenerate city, claim it and finally penetrate that closed domain. I would avenge the heinous crimes of this filthy world and make sure to punish all of them.